This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Why?
Why?
If you have T-Mobile 5G home internet, you might be hearing this
Why?
a lot.
Why?
Every time your internet slows down during the busiest hours.
Why?
Why?
Because your network gives priority to cell phone users.
Why?
Good question. Why not switch to Cox Internet with 2 times faster download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet during peak hours?
Okay.
Stop the whys and visit cox.com/5G home for details. T-Mobile prioritizes certain T-Mobile phone users over home internet users during times of congestion.
How powerful is Cox Internet? So powerful that one day, your daughter will be able to simulate a soccer match against some of the world's best players right from your backyard. Get gig speeds powered by fiber from Cox. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Internet delivered through Cox's hybrid fiber coax network. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions apply.
If you're needing a boost today, then you've come to the right place because I'm Nick Emel here with Dr. Booster. Dr. Booster, how boosty are you today?
9 out of 10. Are you referring to me as like a booster seat, you know? Give you a little bit of pep, get you to the table, elevated?
Well, I do love to sit on your face, so yeah, I think you are a booster seat in my life. If you're new here, I should probably let you know how this damn thing works.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Again, I'm Nick, host of the show. Every episode, I'm joined by one of my rotating panel of guest sidekick hosts. Together, we cover a top 10-ish list along with fun facts, trivia, and hot takes. One of us does not know the list ahead of time, and you're welcome to guess the list along with me this week, since Dr. Buster here brought today's list.
That was a great intro, but I think you meant to say that you're the sidekick host. Actually, you're the sidekick host, and then we just have rotating hosts.
Oh, okay. Interesting format for a podcast.
Well,
now, why
it's
do
been
you
going strong for over 200 episodes, Nick, so wouldn't you know a thing or two about your format?
My format. Yes, I agree. I do know something about
As
my
the
format
sidekick.
on my show. Thank you.
Yes. It's like, you know how when people introduce their spouse, they say, oh, my better half.
Yeah, that's you with me. You call me the better half.
No.
Well, you're my lesser quarter.
Maybe a tenth. A dime piece,
You're my
you
lesser
might say.
1/10. That's why when I introduce you at parties and functions and things, I say, hey, this is my lesser 1/10, Dr. Buster.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, here's my lesser 1/10, my wife.
And then they say, damn,
my
1/10. Yeah, I was going to say he's a 10 out of 10. That makes sense. Now that we're all on the Dewey Decimal System, I agree with you, Nicholas.
No. They say, I'll give his face a 1 out of 10, but his ass a 10 out of 10, bub.
Well, his face will be a 10 out of 10 as soon as I sit on it because we were calling him a booster seat in the beginning of the episode.
Oh, god damn. That's a callback nobody needed.
A callback to what, 60 seconds ago?
Yeah, you fucking idiot. 60 seconds ago when we had the booster seat. I've never talked to you about booster seats in my life before until 60 seconds ago.
Can it be a callback if it was within the same conversation?
Yes.
It'd be like if you made a joke and then like 5 minutes later at the table, you'd be like, hey, everyone, remember that time I made that really good joke? And then we all laughed together? That was such a great time.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing because there's no other frame of reference for the booster seat, but I think we've tortured the poor listeners long enough with this discussion.
So the episode is over. Thank you,
Buster?
everyone. It's been really nice. This was good.
Well, Buster, you let me in on a little secret that this episode had something to do with sleep. I don't know what or how, but you're putting me to sleep now, waiting for this shit to start. So why don't you wake us up and tell me what the topic is?
You're going to want to be woken up from this topic. I guarantee you that. Okay.
Sorry, what?
Now, you're not a person who remembers their dreams very well, right?
No.
Well, that might be interesting.
You want to repeat other shit I know already about myself?
Well, the folks at home don't know that yet. Now, when I went digging for a topic related to sleep and dreams, I found something quite interesting.
Okay.
In America, at least, most commonly, the people who do research on nightmares and the types of nightmares that people have are mattress companies. I'm not making this up. I found multiple lists for the most common nightmares that people have had. And from what I could tell, every group who did it was associated with a mattress company. So today, we are talking about the most common nightmares. This data set comes from Early Bird, which is a research group, a subset of Amerisleep, 3,000 participants. Rated that within the last month, what types of nightmares did they have? So they could check more than one category. It's just what type of nightmare have they had in the last month that they remember. My sources today, obviously, Amerisleep, Frontiers.com, Simply Psychology, Project Gutenberg.
I'm going to need you to just do that again. Gutenberg, say it normal.
Encyclopedia Britannica, the Sleep Foundation, and of course, our friends, listeners of the show, Wikipedia.
Wicca, penis, dia.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
I have the top 13 in front of me. Unlucky number 13. Now, I flew on a plane recently, and I was confused. I was in the 12th row, and I looked behind me, and I saw the 14th row. Does it annoy you that the 13th floor and the 13th row is avoided like the plague in our society? I just think it's silly at this point.
It doesn't annoy me, but do I think it's silly? Yes.
Okay, 13th floor on an elevator as you're suspended 130 feet above the ground. Sure, maybe I could get behind that. The 13th row of an airplane, what's going to happen to the 13th row that didn't happen to the 12th or the 14th? Are you just going to magically get sucked right out the side of the plane, but everybody else is going to be just fine? Are you going to have a heart attack episode because you just happen to be sitting in the 13th row?
Yes. Or because you're in row 12 or 14, you have a chance at surviving whatever terrible thing happens. But 13 is a guaranteed ticket to your dirt nap.
Or is it that the person in the 12th row will have eaten a fresh, whole lot of box from Taco Bueno or Taco Bell, and you just happen to sit one row behind that person? Now that I could get behind and say, I'd be feeling pretty unlucky.
Although that could happen to you in an elevator too.
We're getting way off track here, but I sat down to watch Oppenheimer, which is a 3.5-hour film. Yeah. And as the previews are starting up, I find out who was the lucky person to sit next to me for this 3.5-hour film. And it was a person who wasn't small, who happened to unfortunately smell like body odor. And I wish they had taken a shower before coming to sit right next to me for this very long movie.
Did they get up right at the climax, like right as the atomic bomb's about to drop, and they got up to go get a fucking hot dog from the concession stand?
No, but he was eating like some sort of cheese fries, and I could hear him smacking during some of the quiet moments, and it really...
What'd it sound like?
We all know. Use your imagination.
Give me the sound.
Nope, I won't do it.
His smacking on those fries probably sounded a lot like your booty clapping. like a wet...
Okay, well...
Probably find some cheese fries in that booty too. But Buster, I have to ask, the mattress company's doing this survey. One thing, what year was the survey done?
I think 2019.
Oh, he thinks everybody. Okay, we'll have
I
a lot
remember.
of stock in Buster's words. So maybe you should dream about it. Now, sleep on it. Buster, these mattress companies, I could see someone could explain to me at a mattress company why they care about the dreams that their customers have. But why the hell would a mattress company care about their nightmares?
I don't even get the dreams part, because the quality of the material that helps your customer sleep has nothing to do with the content of their dreams that they have while they're asleep on your mattress.
Well, maybe they were trying to prove that point. Maybe they were trying to prove the point through a study that said the better sleep you have, i.e. the better mattress you have, the more pleasant your dreams will be. Or the fewer bad dreams you'll have. Maybe something like that's what they're
That's
going
an interesting theory, but I think in current psychology, we would say that the things that are happening to you or the things that compose your daily waking mind are going to be most likely the things that impact the types of dreams you have.
Well, okay, I didn't fucking realize I was talking to a doctor here. Jesus.
I think who you're sleeping next to on that mattress, regardless of the brand.
Oh, baby.
That's what's going to lead to
I can only get so hard.
Well, we're going to test the limits. We're going to push beyond your outer rim boundaries and see just how hard
My
you can
outer
get.
rim boundaries. Buster, for these nightmares, I mean, obviously everyone's dreams are unique. So how are they categorizing? How are they grouping together types of nightmares?
So the nightmares is the content of the dream. What could you have a nightmare about in general? These are the 13 categories. So it's 10-ish podcasts for a reason, folks. I'm sorry it's not the top 10. It is the top 13. And if you're scared of that number, don't run away. Don't turn off the episode. Don't unsubscribe, but just press on. Face your fears. Everyone, stay awake.
No, in fact, subscribe harder.
As hard as possible.
Subscribe more. Yeah.
13 times.
Okay.
Create 13 different accounts. Subscribe.
Buy 13 pieces of merch at tennishpod.com/merch.
Uh-huh.
Should we keep it going?
Okay.
Anything else? Leave 13 reviews.
I'm going to salt and pepper in some information about dreams and nightmares along the way as you run us through the gambit of your guesses here. But I also have prepared, in addition to what percentage of people said within the last month they had a nightmare about that type of thing, I've also brought forward the Freudian classical interpretation of what that dream might be. Now, for those folks at home who don't know what I'm referring to, a book called The Interpretation of Dreams is a 1899 book published by Sigmund Freud.
Can you believe there were people smart as Sigmund Freud that lived in the 1800s?
Yes, it is incredible. A lot of his thoughts were cutting edge for the time, but they have not aged well, and now they're very antiquated ideas. So,
like fucking his daughter?
Well, so we're going to poke fun at the Freudian interpretations because they're just kind of silly and they fall flat. Because what you think about a dream filled with crabs, I might have a totally different interpretation of that because we each have had vastly different experiences with crabs, both the animal and the sexually transmitted disease.
Mm. And the sexual acts with crabs.
If we both had a dream about crabs, it doesn't always mean that we're facing the same issue in life. So anyway, Sigmund Freud was the founder of psychoanalysis, and in this book, The Interpretation of Dreams, he introduced his theory of the unconscious with respect to dream interpretation.
It's interesting to think, too, that throughout human history, through all phases of human history, when we were living in the trees, when we're shitting in the streets, when we're living in caves, when we're building societies like today.
Making phone calls on a landline phone.
Exactly. All of those people had dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And animals dream too.
They
At
do.
least some animals. So
and babies.
It's
Infants.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, the dreams have evolved, I'm sure, with the times, but dreams have always been a constant. And we still don't fully understand dreams even today.
Yes, we don't. We'll get into that. We currently have 4 competing theories. As of 2023 in psychology. In Freud's view, all dreams are just a form of wish fulfillment. It's our brain getting to do what we wish we could do while we were awake.
Maybe we'll get into this, but I would push back on that because how many of us are wishing when we are awake that when we're asleep, we're running away from some big-ass monster? You know?
Exactly. A lot of my nightmares are about things that I would worry about on the day-to-day. So why the hell do I need to go to sleep and be tortured by my regular daily existence when I could be dreaming of literally anything? Anything.
All the butts you could be dreaming about, and instead you're dreaming about, like, doing the dishes or something.
I could be swimming amongst vanilla ice cream with double stuffed Oreo in it and lapping it up for hours. But no, I have these stupid petty nightmares, and I'll be sharing some of my recent and reoccurring nightmares on today's episode.
We're on the edge of our seats.
So Nick, tell the folks at home, what is a nightmare?
A nightmare. Well, it happens at night.
Are you sure?
But I guess you're right. It doesn't always happen at night. You could sleep in the middle of the daytime and have a nightmare.
Well, that's true.
But it's essentially just a bad dream. I don't know. There's my dog. I don't know if there probably is like a difference in definition between a bad dream and a nightmare and a night terror and like all these different kinds of things. But I essentially equate a nightmare to a bad and or scary dream.
For sure.
An unpleasant dream.
Nailed it. Now, a sleep terror is when a person appears agitated during the sleep, but they don't tend to wake up. We do wake up from nightmares. Sleep terrors occur during non-REM sleep, where a nightmare or typical dream occurs only during REM sleep. Sleep terrors are more common in the first half of the night, which is interesting, and nightmares are more likely in the back half of your sleep.
Because nightmares happen during REM, right? Which comes later.
Correct, and you'll only ever remember the dreams you're having or the nightmares that you're having in your most recent REM cycle. Now, the average person goes through a whole REM cycle between 60 and 90 minutes. So once you leave a full sleep cycle, you're not going to remember the dreams you had. That's why we tend to only remember the dreams that we have right before we wake up.
I have a question. You said REM cycle is 60 to 90 minutes each?
Sorry, the full sleep cycle, including REM.
If you sleep through, let's say you sleep 8 hours at night, that means you're coming in and out of sleep every 60 to 90 minutes?
Yeah, you're going through multiple sleep cycles a night, 4 to 6 or whatever.
Well, I'm an idiot, but I always thought, like, once you hit REM, it was possible to stay in REM all the way till you got up.
A REM sleep will only occur for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you'll start to progress back out of it and go all the way through non-REM stages 1 through 4.
Before the episode, you did not tell me what the list was, but you let me know it had to do with sleep. So we talked a little bit about my dreams, and I told you the truth, which is that I'm the type of person, for better or for worse, and I don't know if it is better or worse, but I very rarely remember any dreams. I could only tell you 3 or 4 dreams that I ever remember from my entire life. There are times where I wake up and I know I was just dreaming, and for like a few minutes I'll remember the dream, and then it's gone.
Have you ever tried writing them down?
No, because I'm not a fucking nerd.
I keep a dream journal in my notes on my phone, and sometimes if I have particularly wacky or strange dreams that I want to remember later, I'll write them down.
Would you say you have dreams frequently that you remember? Even putting aside your dream journal.
Yeah, I'd say 3 nights a week I remember something I dreamed.
And how many of those 3 nights involve cuddling with me in your dreams?
0. Negative. 10,000. 10-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Negative 10-ish.
We'll get to some of my recent dreams. Now, hopefully you'll be able to bring up some anecdotal stuff. Maybe some friends have told you their dreams. Your children have told you theirs. Your wife. Whatever. So we'll see. We'll see what comes up as we get through the list.
Which wife?
Well, you've got 8 to choose from, so you should be able to hit at least 1 or 2 nightmares along the well, besides,
It was a nightmare at times, you're right.
Day and night, asleep or awake.
Just kidding. All right, should I go ahead and give you a guess?
Sure, Nick. I guess that's what the fucking show is about, so might be good.
Okay. Well,
if you want to end this damn thing.
Did you want to interrupt me some more? Maybe we can just sit here and I can just be interrupted.
No, maybe you can just ask rhetorical questions about what the show's about.
Maybe I fucking will. Okay, here's a guess, asshole. So we were just talking about my wife.
Yeah. Which one?
She has told me a current /
Still, which one?
Best / only.
Yeah, we got to throw those disclaimers in case she happens to be listening.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not important which one. What I will tell you is that she's told me a recurring nightmare she has
is being married to you.
Being married to Nick
she wakes up and realizes it's not a nightmare. It is truth.
Fuck. I'm just wondering if I can ever get this guess out.
Go ahead.
I'll pause. Anything else you wanted to say?
Be our guest. Be our guest.
All right, I will be your guest and tell you that she has told me her recurring nightmare is being back in high school, not able to find her locker, roaming the halls.
Oh, okay, interesting. Particularly high school for her, though.
Yes.
All right, feeling lost.
Unless she's lying. I guess it's possible she's lying about her nightmares, Buster, but
we know
that's
true. Because many people don't want to admit what they dream about.
Mm-hmm. Like you and cuddling me.
Number 4 is feeling lost. Number 4 at 54%. So just over half of people said that they have...
That's a very vague.
It is. Yeah, it's kind of a vague category. But it covers a lot of different things. Feeling lost in high school. According to Freud, a person who dreams about feeling lost has a lack of a stable identity, and they're looking for one. They're trying to find themselves and to cement who they really are because their childhood built an adult that did not have a stable personal identity.
Well, fuck, I hope my wife's not listening.
Now, a psychoanalyst would probably map that onto her high school experience and say something about high school dislodged her identity, and she's been trying to find it ever since. But see, you just read too much into it. That person is mapping their own interpretation of your wife's life experience onto her, and that's why psychoanalysis just doesn't keep up with the times. We now know too much.
Yeah. I know that's a common, that general idea of like roaming around somewhere, not able to find what you're looking for is very common. Obviously, it's number 4 on this list.
Now, see, I don't have dreams about feeling lost, but I definitely have dreams about misplacing something. And I'm looking for what feels like 6 hours for something I set down in the wrong place. How fucking annoying. Why? Why does my brain do that?
Do you have an example of something you were looking for?
Like keys or wallet or, fucking a shirt.
If we were watching a movie of your dream, it would literally just be looking around, checking under the pillow on the couch.
Rifling through everything. And typically,
That sucks.
with my dreams, I'm in a strange situation. So I'd be like, I was at my cousin's house, but it wasn't really my cousin's house. It was actually a bank. And I was talking to the bank teller and telling them, I cannot find my wallet. I misplaced it. And I'd be searching for it for an hour.
That's the funny thing about dreams is they don't make sense. It's often like random locations with random people. And it's like, it never makes sense. And that's why dreams are so fascinating.
That's a great segue to one of the current 4 competing theories for why we dream the things that we do, and that's something called neural activation. It's when different neurons that typically aren't related, they just happen to fire while you're asleep. So, cousin's house, bank teller, missing wallet, these random neurons, random memories fire. The brain doesn't know how to connect them, so it puts them into a chronological narrative. And then you start having weird-ass dreams where you're like eating ice cream and running from a tiger and watching The Price is Right. But these are just random story connections from neurons that have fired while you were asleep.
This is a theory, right?
That's
This
one
is
of
one
the
of 4
4
theories.
current competing accepted theories in psychology for why we dream.
I don't accept it.
Well, there you go, folks.
I used to start my day feeling unrested, unfocused, and in need of a caffeine boost. But that was old Nick, because new Nick has discovered a life hack. It's AG1, the daily nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink AG1 every single morning because in just one delicious daily serving, AG1 gives me the comprehensive foundational nutrition I need to support energy, focus, strength, and clarity. With 75 high-quality vitamins, probiotics, and whole food-sourced ingredients. It's the best way to start your day. AG1 is not only a high-quality, all-in-one solution for daily foundational nutrition, it also saves you time, confusion, and money, because each serving costs less than just $3 a day. That's not a lot compared to individual supplements that can add up, or for a daily habit that gives you powerful, long-term results. If you're looking for a simpler, effective investment for your health, try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/tennis. That's drinkag1.com/10ish. Check it out. Look at you. You're filthy. I was filthy once too, just like you. But I freshened up, and that's why I want to tell you about our newest sponsor, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. If you're anything like me, cooking and meal planning is a chore. I hate it. It's so tempting to pick up the phone and just order some delivery. But hold that phone, fam. When life gets busy, don't call for delivery, just get HelloFresh. It's 25% cheaper than takeout and less expensive than grocery shopping too. With HelloFresh, all you need is 15 minutes and you'll be enjoying a tasty, satisfying meal made in your very own kitchen. HelloFresh saves me a ton of money and more importantly, time. It gives me so much more of the extra time I need to edit out all of Dr. Buster's many mistakes on Tennis Podcast. Well, maybe not all the extra time I need, but pretty close. My favorite thing about HelloFresh is the variety. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all covered. They even have snacks and sides too. Now I need you to freshen up just like I did. Go to hellofresh.com/50tennis and use code 50tennis for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/5010ish and use code 50tennis, or just simply click the link in the show notes and you'll get 50% off, free shipping, and you'll help support Tennis Podcast all at the same time. So what are you waiting for, you filthy animal? Go to hellofresh.com/50tennis and use code 50tennis, and you'll immediately see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
This episode is brought to you by Pete's. Few things start your day better than a good coffee. That's why Pete's hand roast their coffee from a specific selection of high-quality beans. And they don't just put those beans into anyone's hands. Pete's trains their roasters for 10,000 hours so they can master the roast that gives you the most. Pete's Coffee. Coffee for coffee people. Find Pete's online or at your local retailer.
Should I give another guess?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to continue an episode of the 10-ish pod.
Okay, wise guy. Then I'll give you a guess of feeling chased or running away from something.
Feeling chased, running away.
That's
would
got to be top 5.
Oh, you are correct. Coming in at number 2. Number 2.
Knew it.
Being chased.
Being chased.
63% of people report having a recent being chased nightmare. Freudian followers would say this illustrates a fear of inadequacy or that you fear people are not sexually interested in you.
Okay.
So your nightmare is
So that might
actually
be
being
true.
chased because you're doing wish fulfillment and you desire to be chased in your waking life. You're going to notice the theme here with Freudian interpretation. A lot of it comes back to sexual repression.
Exactly. Yeah, it
Now-
does. And I think there is something to that. I mean, well, whatever. I don't know a ton, and I don't think everything
that's
in
true.
these dream interpretations is correct. But I do think that a lot of the ways we feel and react and respond have to do with unconscious things like this.
Correct. Yes, unconscious suppression can lead us to have dreams that we then have to interpret ourselves. The difference, the breakaway from psychoanalysis, is that answer isn't the same for everyone. If you have a recurring dream where you get lost in high school and so do I, they probably mean two different things because we had two very different experiences. We have two very different opinions about what high school is, what it's like.
Interesting fun fact for the listeners, if you didn't know, me and Buster did go to the same high school.
And that's the biggest nightmare of all
That's the biggest nightmare of them all.
for me. Now,
Yeah.
I had a very memorable dream when I was around 10 or 11 years old that I was being chased by a Black Panther with green eyes through the jungle. And I was scared enough that I woke up and I started screaming for my mom. And it woke both my parents up. My dad was probably annoyed, but my mom came in.
Dad came in and said, well, hell, bub.
They had to settle me down, and I was very scared. I think I ended up sleeping in their bed for the rest of that night. But because I've remembered that dream so much since, I've never forgot. I can still remember parts of that dream. It scared the shit out of me.
First of all, you sound like a bitch. Secondly, I told you that I remember very few of my dreams. However, one of the few I do remember is loosely in the being chased category. I was probably 10 or 11 as well, and I was in my childhood home, the same home I lived in at the time of the dream, and the house was under attack by some sort of revolt or revolution, some uprising of unhappy beings led by Jim Carrey's The Grinch. But he wasn't happy. He was a mean, evil Grinch.
Uh-huh.
But he would smile as I was scared of being attacked by a group led by the Grinch in my home. So, Freud, what do you have to say about that?
See, that was just foresight of the eventual fans of the 10-ish pod turning on you. And one of them just being a huge fan of Jim Carrey's Grinch, and they're going to come to your house eventually someday, and they're going to give you a piece of their goddamn mind.
And he's wearing a Grinch outfit, you're saying?
You
Like
bet
Jim
your
Carrey's Grinch?
ass.
Oh my God.
It's going to be on Christmas Eve.
There was one episode we did, I don't remember which one, but we were talking about all the weirdos that had outfits that would surprise us doing weird sexual stuff in like a...
Furries and
God, what
whatnot.
was the outfit? Yeah, furries and shit, yeah. There probably is someone out there that's had sex in a Grinch outfit, you know?
For sure. I've seen lewd videos on the internet where a woman was walking in a park and two giant pterodactyls came flopping out of the trees. And she was like, oh no! And then they all had sex. So for sure.
Well, that just makes sense, though.
Yeah. Who hasn't dreamed of that?
Mm-hmm.
Some might even call it a fantasy.
Yeah, I wonder what Freud had to say about that. Okay, being chased.
Yep.
I had another one where Chucky, as in the killer doll Chucky, the Chucky doll was chasing me outside, and this is before I'd seen the Chucky movies, and he finally got on me, and he stabbed me, and I thought I died, but it was a rubber knife, and it was just like, the knife kind of rubbery wiggled and didn't kill me. That's one of like 4 dreams I remember in my entire life. There you go.
Okay. The dream started as a chase, but then it turned into 2 other categories on our list today.
Being murdered.
Okay, being murdered might be one subset of number 5, being physically attacked.
Knew it.
49%, roughly half of people report nightmares.
Whoa, hang on. Let's check the math here. Whoa, hang on. 49%, roughly half. Hang on.
Mhm.
Let me check with my accountant on that math. Do you mind if we pause the recording so I can send a quick email to my account? They can let me know if 49%...
Let's get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the phone. We need some experts to weigh in on whether 49% is close to half or not.
All right. Please continue. I'll send the email while you talk.
It's okay. I really appreciate your commitment to detail and accuracy on the Tinnish Pod.
Mm-hmm. One of us has got to do it. We know it ain't going to be your fucking ass.
I know you hold every Sidekick host to such high standards.
Yeah.
Anyway, Freudians would say that being physically attacked, those nightmares indicate that you have a denial of a situation that you know you should take care of.
Mm.
Now, I don't have a lot of dreams about being physically attacked, but I will say that I had a recurring dream in my 20s where I was like being pushed or someone was trying to punch me and it was time to fight back. And I go to cock back my arm and swing my fist and it's like I couldn't move. I was like in quicksand or jello and I could never fight back. I was way too slow. People might be laughing at me. They might be getting hits on me. And it was very hard for me to fight back.
This sounds like just your everyday life in high school. But also, I feel like I've had dreams like that. I've definitely heard of dreams like that. It seems like a common thing where like you can't move to your full ability. And I don't know, there's probably something there. Something deep inside,
I think
Buster.
most of the time it's because I was sexually bonded and strapped to a board. I just couldn't wiggle out, even though it was time to fight back.
All right. I think that's enough. We got it. We're done with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if you were to get stabbed, you might say that you got injured.
You might say that.
So getting injured.
That's the same as being physically attacked. Buster, getting injured and being physically attacked are so close they should just be the same category.
I disagree because being physically attacked is very different than walking out of your front step and you slip on ice and fall and break your arm. That's an injury.
That ice attacked you.
Okay, it's not a person.
Okay, what number is this?
Number 9, getting injured at 35%. Psychoanalysis does not mention in the interpretation of dreams about getting injured.
Do they mention any interpretations of dreams of getting a fucking huge boner?
That'd be half the population. Speaking of half the population, 54% of men report the getting injured nightmare happening recently, while only 44% of women. So men tend to have nightmares about getting hurtsy-wurtsy more often.
I wonder if that has to do, the gender breakdown there. I wonder if that has to do with the, historically, well, I don't know how this will sound, but like historically men have felt the weight of like providing for their family, right? And if they get injured, they can't provide as much. So I wonder if there's like some basic human instinct kicking in there on that.
Evolutionarily speaking, if we go all the way back to hunter-gatherer societies or people who are nomadic, if the men are out having to hunt, go find resources, push the boundaries, they're navigating danger as a group together, then getting injured would take away your ability to contribute to the group anymore.
Yeah, that's a better put version of what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Because you're misogynistic and sexist, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone will isolate the audio on that and ruin my chances of becoming president someday. Although maybe not, given recent presidents.
Clip it and cancel him.
Okay. Getting injured.
All right.
Yeah,
other guesses. Other
can't think of any dreams
categories.
like this. Well, these are only nightmares. If we were talking all dreams, then I would guess like getting down and dirty with your coworker that you have a crush on or something. But
okay,
since we're talking
dreams
nightmares,
of a sexual nature, I would say there's only one of these that fits into a sexual nightmare.
Being cheated on.
Yes.
Or like catching your significant other cheating on you, something like that.
Number 13, when they're doing you the dirtiest in your sleep, and they'd be sleeping right next to you. Coming in at 27% of people say they have a nightmare about their spouse leaving them or being unfaithful.
Buster, you're married. Have you ever...
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. That's what I've been told.
Nah.
So I told you I don't dream much, but my wife does dream. Tells me her dreams all the time. And sometimes I'll wake up and she's mad at me over something that I did in her dream. Has that ever happened to you?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not fair. It's not right.
Isn't that just the pits? That's hard to come back from.
What do you do? You gotta try to figure out a way to infiltrate her next dream and make things right in the dream.
If you start trying to rationalize, that admits wrongdoing from a you that you weren't responsible for.
Or were you? Maybe it's some alternate universe. Maybe all our dreams are just distant memories. That's what the Scientologists think.
So share with us, Nick, what is the most common thing that you do to your poor wife in her sleep that causes such consternation?
In her nightmares, I'm either cheating on her or I've abandoned her or she can't find me. She needs me. So I'm just a terrible fucking guy in her dreams.
Now, what would she ever need you for?
That's a good question. Couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you either.
Thanks. So we agree. I'm the worst.
Now, here's a confession.
Give it to me.
Sometimes I'll have bad dreams of a sexual nature.
Baby.
And I would say most of the time when I have dreams that have any sexual content in it, it's not enjoyable. I can tell you.
Well, which kind of animals are you having sex with in your dreams?
I don't need to get into the gritty details, but I can tell you offhand, I have multiple dreams within the last year that I woke up and I just thought, what the fuck? Why? Why would why would I have a sex dream that was not enjoyable, not pleasant, and I just woke up feeling gross and weirded out by the whole thing?
Was it with someone you knew in the real world?
No, it's usually people I don't know. The last one that happened like a week or two ago was of an old lady, and it just was not...
Oh, go on. Give us the juicy details.
Well, there wasn't much juice. She was pretty old. Okay, take that out.
That's rough.
That does not need to...
I haven't had any of those.
That joke does not need to be included.
I will do with that joke what I please. It is my show, after all.
Another gender discrepancy here. 60% of women report having a nightmare about their spouse leaving them, but only 40% of men.
It's interesting. It's like the reverse stats of the getting injured thing, where there's more men than women that have that. I think what you said is true. I think so much of this stuff is like our evolutionary, subconscious that pokes through. Because you and I have never been hunter-gatherers, unless you've been misleading me my whole life and you're secretly...
I hunt and gather snacks on an hourly basis.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not real hunter and gatherers, but yet that human history might still seep through into our subconscious, into our dreams.
Well, I think even the issues we tackled 500 years ago are still wreaking havoc with us socially.
Like what?
Just imagine.
I can't think of anything bad that we did 500 years ago.
If anything's left over from hunter-gatherer, then you bet your ass the things we were handling at 1000 or 1500 AD, that's still in our genetics. It's still impacting us.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, with epigenetic effects right now, things that your grandparents experienced are having a direct effect on you today. We're learning more and more about how that's manifesting, but there's no denying it.
And there's something to be said, too, for the collective unconscious, collective subconscious. Of a society.
Cultural assumptions, the things that we don't have to agree upon verbatim, but they still impact the way we think and act.
And it's also true that people that are on other sides of the world, like say Asia, their dreams might have different interpretations or influences or whatever than us Americans here.
Which I will say, an important distinction that this study was in America. So I would like to see if the European, African, Asian list, different countries all around the world, Russia, if their top 13 would look different.
Maybe not Russia, but all the rest,
or would we find out that us humans are all alike so much we have the same exact type of bad dreams?
There could be something to that too, especially if we are infusing the kind of evolutionary kind of genetic thing we've been talking about, where all humans at the beginning were the same.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Buster, I don't know how many times you cheated on your wife in her dreams, but how many times have you cheated on her in real life? Go ahead.
That'd be 0.
Okay. I'll give you another guess then. Man, I don't know what's left. So being murdered is not its own thing.
Correct. There is death, though.
What about...
What types of death?
Okay, falling. Falling from somewhere high.
Falling. Where do you think it ranks on the list here?
Man, that might be number 1 even. I'm going to say 1 or 3.
Folks, there's a reason why Nick is the host of the 10ish Pod, and he's put in the time, the effort. He's got the expertise because it is number 1. Falling is the number 1 most common nightmare. 65 percentage points.
That's the one that everyone's had. I've definitely had dreams where you wake up in the middle of the nightmare and you feel like you're falling.
Yeah. It's wild. I used to have this recurring dream a lot, and it was typically right when I was falling asleep for the first time in the night. I'd have a falling dream once or twice. I'd jerk awake. Oh, God. and then I'd go to sleep.
Sorry, you jerk what? How long did you jerk off? I missed that part.
Psychoanalysts would say a dream that includes falling means that you have anxiety or surprise around a sexual urge or desire.
Okay. So wait, say it again. A surprise. Say it again.
Yeah, surprise and anxiety around a sexual urge or desire. Like you're worried about a sexual desire you have for someone at work, or you're anxious about some sexual encounter you want to have with somebody or whatever.
So because I'm anxious about joining the furry community and having sex with them, because of that, now I'm falling off the Empire State Building in my nightmare?
Yep, that's what they would say.
Okay.
That you're falling for the furry community. So now you're falling in your dreams.
I don't know. That seems like a stretch. Buzz.
Incredibly. It's outdated, antiquated. Now, compared to the rest of the field of psychology in 1900, which was basically nothing, this shit was revolutionary. This was closer than whatever people were saying at the time because they weren't saying anything.
No one had ever even considered
Correct.
the unconscious
It's
before.
like if you look
Right.
at the very first pair of shoes, if you wore those today, you'd be like, my ass is going barefoot. I'm not going to injure myself with these god-awful shoes. They'd be
injure myself.
terrible. You wouldn't even wear them. You'd rather go barefoot. But they were the first step, the first iteration to our nice shoes we have now.
It really makes you think.
Freudian dreamer interpretation is the same thing. It's like stone tools on the way to the modern hammer.
On that note, why don't you give me, I think you gave me one theory of the sleeping theories or the dream theories.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about information processing. This is the second of 4 current competing dream theories. Information processing. It's all of us trying to make sense of what is going on in our life. So things have happened to us. We have these different ruminations, different experiences, memories, and it's us trying to make sense of the world, bring things together, close the gaps.
Well, that one seems more likely than the first theory, which was about how to go again?
Random neural activation.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know. Well, before I give another guess, can you do a quick recap of where we stand?
Recap. Number 13, spouse leaving you. Number 9, getting injured. Number 5, being physically attacked. Number 4, feeling lost. Number 2, being chased. And number 1, falling for you.
Did you want to compliment my guessing now, or do you want to wait a few more guesses before?
I already did.
Before you do that.
Don't expect it again.
Okay. All right, well then another guess
You still got 2 types of death on the list here.
Dying alone? That one?
So dying alone.
Sounds like a dream to me.
That's a
not
funny
nightmare.
subset. But number 3 is just your own death.
Okay.
Having a nightmare about your own death, 55% of people. Over
Now,
half.
how close to half is that, Buster? Is that over half, under half, near half?
Now, psychoanalysts don't have an interpretation for death because they think that fearing death itself is of little significance to a child's experience. And most of psychoanalytic theory revolves around unconscious urges that stem from childhood experience. So there isn't much in dream interpretation about our own death.
Well, we all fear death. Even people that say they don't fear death are full of shit.
Correct.
So this one makes total sense. Makes sense that it's so high, number 3. You ever dream about your own death, Buster?
You know, not that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to have nightmares about minor inconveniences.
When you have dreams, are you looking out from your own body like normal waking hours, or do you see yourself like an out-of-body experience type of thing?
90 to 99% of the time, I'm looking out from my own eyes. But sometimes I'll see myself and have sort of a omnipresent experience. I don't know. I think most people's common dream experience is being themselves, being encapsulated within their own body and mind.
Do you think we'll ever get to a stage in our technological advancement that there could be a patient asleep and you could hook up something to their head and then you could like view their dream on a big screen?
I don't know that you'll ever be able to view it. That's a leap, maybe. But I do think you'll be able to know roughly what the context of their dream is. So if you didn't know, I don't know exactly who did this, what team of researchers, what the technology is, but someone has been able to predict what song somebody else is singing to themselves in their head. It just happened about a month ago. They were singing a Pink Floyd song in their head to themselves, and the technology was able to pick it up with whatever brain waves or
I don't even know how the
magic
fuck
shit.
you do that.
Yep. They said,
Yeah.
you're
Magic shit.
thinking of Pink Floyd's, I forget what the song title was, and the person was like, yep, that's what I'm thinking about.
That's almost a chicken and an egg thing, because sometimes you don't even know what you're thinking about while you're thinking it, right? Because your brain's like always kind of working even when you're not paying attention.
Mhm.
So was he really thinking of a Pink Floyd song, or when the person said that, they were like, I don't know. It's also slippery, anything that has to do with the mind,
Yeah.
studying the mind.
But the future is strange, and it is now.
Mm.
So why don't you now give us another guess? What other type of death could you have a nightmare about instead of your own?
The death of a loved one?
Death of a loved one, coming in at number 8. 36%, roughly a third of people said they've had a recent nightmare about a loved one dying. Freud would say that you have an inability to handle death, and your anxiety is sort of dysregulating, and you're dreaming about other people dying.
I don't know, because you have to think that even babies and children have this nightmare, right? Of like their mother dying, for example.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a tough one. I had this crazy ass dream in my early 20s that
Wait,
I
you
shot
dreamed out? You had an ass dream? Dreams happen in my brain. I didn't know it could happen anywhere else.
No, I dreamed that I shot my mom with like a Hollywood style pistol. And then I looked
Like
at the
Alec
gun and I
Baldwin?
freaked out and woke up terrified.
That is pretty rough. But
Yeah.
why would you do that to your mom? She's such a nice lady.
It was not good.
What'd you do with her body?
And that's the torturous thing about nightmares. Like you lay down after a long day, you just want some rest, some relief, some reprieve from modern society. You want to get some fucking rest. And then you're startled awake at 2:45 a.m. and you just shot your own mom, who you love dearly. Like, why?
It's not fair, is it? It's not fair.
awful.
I guess at the top I talked about how I don't remember my dreams, and I said for better or for worse. And that's the side where it's for better, because pretty much never do I wake up from a nightmare, huffing and puffing like you see in a movie or like you're describing now. Doesn't happen. So on that side, I feel lucky. On the flip side, I'd like to remember my dreams sometimes, because don't they say, like, if you don't remember your dreams, it says something about your personality?
That you're
Like maybe
dumb,
you're
unlikable.
An amazing human that, like,
really
is bound to lead.
An asshole, I think, is another part of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could be.
Okay, one other type of... It's very, very related to number 8, which was death of a loved one.
Attending the funeral of a loved one?
Okay, let's go beyond the funeral.
Living without the loved one?
That's a good guess.
Burying the loved one?
What might the loved one do to you after they've died?
Oh, being haunted by a loved one.
Being haunted by a loved one who has died is number 12. Visited by a deceased person or loved one.
I knew it.
28% of people have had this nightmare recently. Psychoanalysts would say you have a leftover desire or an unresolved issue with that person.
See, now that makes sense.
Sure.
That interpretation
That one
makes
maps
sense
on.
to me.
64% of women report having this dream recently, but only 35% of men. So women are almost twice as likely to have a dream that they're being visited by a deceased loved one. That's interesting to me.
Wonder why that is. I don't understand the difference there in that.
Now, this isn't the same as a deceased person. The story I'm about to tell doesn't map onto any of the other categories very, very well either. But we have a neighbor here in our neighborhood who told me about a recurring dream he used to have in an old house of theirs when they lived in a different town in Wisconsin. And when he told me the story, it gave me goosebumps. It was so scary the way he told it. He had this recurring dream almost every night of someone coming in their house. At different times of the dream, he'd wake up, but always a person was approaching them, trying to get to them where they were. It was the same recurring dream about some person. He never really saw their face. And the dream was so scary and haunting that he started avoiding going to bed. And he was always visited by this person. And at some point it stopped. And just the haunted look on his face when he was telling me this, that it went on for probably 4 or 5 months. It's so scary the way he told it. And I'm glad I've never
that
had
it just stops
like
too.
That. Yeah.
Just seems like there's no reason for it. The other thing about dreaming and nightmares is most of the time, even in recurring dream, like that guy said he had the same dream every night, even then, in your dream, you don't seem to realize it's a dream, or you don't say to yourself, I know this is a dream. This just happened last night. It's like it seems real every time.
Yeah.
And it's funny how your mind can kind of play that trick on you, even though you know what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Oh.
So this guy that told you this, how was his ass? Pretty good ass?
It's fair.
Okay. Probably had some ass dreams too, huh?
Nothing to fantasize about, but also nothing that would give you nightmares.
Okay. Visited by a deceased person or loved one. Have you had this one?
I have not, no.
So when you shot your mom brutally?
My grandma on my mother's side used to tell one of her family famous stories that she had a dream that she was visited by one of her brothers, I think it was, her brother, that he had died and he visited her. And then a couple days later, he died. He actually passed away.
Mm.
And so she always thought that she kind of told the future.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was just worried about him. I don't know. Not really believing in the paranormal, but...
So you're doubting that God sends visions to people in their sleep to help warn others?
Can't explain it, bub.
I can't explain it, but going back to the paranormal, people being visited by a deceased person in their dreams is what skeptics would point to as the source of so many haunting people reporting hauntings. Is like you were actually asleep or you were having sleep paralysis or something,
Yeah, right. Not being able to discern whether you were awake or not.
Mm-hmm.
Some nightmares can be super scary and you wake up yelling.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that.
Just about a year and a half ago, I had a dream that, like an invisible little ghost thing. I had a dream I was vacuuming somebody's house. It was a tiny little, ornate rug in a wooden house. Why was I vacuuming some stranger's living room? I don't know. And while I was doing it, I looked to my right, and there was this invisible little ghost figure. And I just kind of chuckled at it.
What do you mean a ghost figure? A person?
Like, I couldn't see it, but in the dream, I knew it was a ghost.
Okay.
And I just kind of chuckled and went back to vacuuming. And then when I turned back around, the invisible ghost thing, it grabbed me. I could feel it wrapped around me. And I woke up screaming, and it scared the shit out of my wife.
A little ghost thing grabbed you while you're vacuuming a stranger's cabin.
Yes, exactly. Are you seeing the fucked up nature of my dreams?
My interpretation of that is that you're scared of the lies that you tell on this show that you're really the host.
I think I just hate vacuuming.
Yeah.
Or maybe I hate cleaning up after other people.
So much so that you'd rather be grabbed by a ghost in your dreams. Okay.
All right. You've got
it's
4
funny
left.
too that you and I don't believe in ghosts, but yet ghosts can still scare us in our dreams,
Yeah, I've had multiple
Strange.
ghost-like invisible ghost dreams that I wake up yelling or I wake up very scared in the past few years.
Well, I'm committed that whenever I die, no matter when and how and where that is, I'll be haunting your ass every night in your dreams. You can count on it.
Bring it on.
From 20th Century Studios, New Regency, and Entertainment One comes a new motion picture event. The Creator, only theater September 29th.
Our mission is to terminate the weapon Alpha O.
On September 29th.
Joshua, take care of her.
I promise. Save the child.
You're my friend?
I'm like a bodyguard.
Save us all.
They're coming to get me.
I'm getting you out of this. Seatbelt.
The Creator, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Only in theater September 29th. Get tickets now.
What's up? It's Kaylee Cuoco. When it comes to travel, we all have a happy place. I just went to my happy place. I just went to Maui, and it was truly amazing. Priceline has always been about getting you to your happy place for a happy price with deals you really can't find anywhere else. Like up to 60% off select hotels in Costa Rica or 5-star hotels for 2-star prices in Cabo.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Hi, listener. It's me, Alex Johns. If you're anything like me, you just can't wait to know the next episode topic of Tinish Podcast. It keeps us up at night. We toss and we turn, wondering, hoping, dreaming. Fortunately, I found a solution. It's the Tinish Podcast newsletter. Each month, I get this free newsletter delivered right to my inbox, and it tells me right there what the next month's worth of Tinish Podcast episodes will be all about. That means that me and the other newsletter subscribers knew today's episode topic about a month in advance. I have more good news. The newsletter also comes with Dr. Buster's exclusive blog, behind-the-scenes updates from Nick, discount codes on Tinish merch, and more. The best part is this monthly free newsletter can be yours too. Just go to tennispod.com/newsletter, enter your email address, and you're in. It's that easy. Again, that's tennispod.com/newsletter, or just click the link in the show notes. The only problem I have now is tossing and turning, waiting for the next Tennis Podcast newsletter.
All right, let me give you another guess here. How about not being able to finish something? Like, for example, trying to do... Could be, or it could be like vacuuming, let's say. Let's say you vacuum and you turn and you come back and the same spot needs to be vacuumed again, you know?
Okay.
Like that kind of recurring...
I would say not finishing
cycle.
an event, but perhaps being able to start the event because you missed it. And that's number 6, missing out on an event.
Oh, missing. Okay, number 6.
Missing an event, 43%.
So FOMO, in other words.
FOMO, or realizing you're going to miss something, like you were supposed to give a speech and you're not there.
Oh, that reminds me of another guess.
Psychoanalysts say that you would have this type of a dream if you're neglecting a personal responsibility.
That one tracks too.
66% of men have a nightmare that they've missed an event, while only 32% of women. So you're twice as likely as a dude to dream of missing an event. That's wild.
How dare you assume my gender?
Okay. This is one of my most common recurring dreams. It's not really missing an event, but I dream that I'm teaching a lesson either to adults or middle school, because I used to teach middle school. Class is starting, everybody's filing in, everyone's sitting down, and I have nothing prepared. And I start panicking, realizing I've got an hour's time to bullshit and kill in front of this crowd, and I got nothing.
Does your nightmare ever extend to where you see what you're doing to fill that hour?
I'd say the most I've ever probably got through this would be 5 minutes in, where I'm already pulling at strings.
And what are you doing for the 5
I
minutes?
don't know what I'm doing. Making some stupid
Showing him
shit
YouTube
up.
videos.
Yeah, right.
Pull up YouTube.
Wheeling in the cart, the tube TV, putting on a documentary.
Yeah, that's the teacher's like secret weapon right there.
Yeah, that just
you
meant you
reel
went
in
to
I don't think
school
they
in the
would-
90s.
Just a bygone era. Missing an event. I see that one, yeah.
Missing an event.
Like some listeners might be worried that they missed our latest Tennis Pod Plus bonus episode.
Oh.
You think they might have had nightmares about that?
I think so.
In case you missed it, or you had a nightmare about it, our latest bonus episode is out now. It's an Ask Me Anything style episode where yours truly answers listener questions. And if that's not enough for your greedy fucking ass, there's also a new blooper reel highlighting bloopers and outtakes from the last month's worth of episodes. That blooper reel, though, is only available to members at the Peanut Butter Fiend monthly membership tier. So you can bloop your ass on over to tennispod.com/plus to enjoy these and dozens of other members-only bonus episodes, as well as ad-free access to all of our main episodes like the one you're listening to now. It's not a dream, this is real. You can get a 7-day free trial at tennispod.com/plus. That's tennispod.com/PLUS.
I've had nightmares before that my Tennis Pod Plus membership ran out and I missed all that delicious content.
The delicious bonus content, featuring, at times, Dr. Buster.
Yep.
That bonus content's a little less delicious, a little more sweaty and greasy, and kind of sits like a rock in your tummy.
Yeah, just all around disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
All
Well,
right.
let me not disappoint you with another guess.
You've got 3 left, and one of them is very much related to missing an event.
I don't know. Missing a deadline? Is that too similar?
So if you don't miss the
not-
event, what else could you do? Maybe you remember it, but you remember it maybe not the right time?
Late? You're late?
Late to an event or waking up late. So being
7.
Being late is number 7.
Knew it.
42%.
Almost half.
Being late was not mentioned by psychoanalytic theory in the interpretation of dreams.
That's because back in 1899, when Sigmund Freud wrote that book, you didn't fucking have to wake up for anything except milking your damn cows, and you didn't have to go work in an office building.
And you had a rooster to wake you up.
You had a damn rooster to wake you up, of course.
You couldn't be late to anything because nobody had shit to do.
The only shit you had to do was not die of, the common cold.
Syphilis
and
or
watch your step from all the shit in the street.
surviving winter, having enough firewood to get through the night. Yeah, that was about it. Now, I have had kind of a recurring dream over the last year where I'm dreaming something. I wake up from said dream. And after I wake up, I think, you're still asleep. You woke up out of a dream, but you're actually still dreaming. And I'll think, oh, is that true? And then, like Inception, I wake up again.
That would fuck me up. That'd make me not trust my own
That's a recurring nightmare
eyes if I was really awake or not.
I've had lately. I'd say it's happened to me 4 times in the last year where I do a multiple awakenings to get all the way up to reality.
And when you wake up for the real time, are you still like not trusting that you're actually awake, or do you know immediately?
There's a moment there for a while where I'm like, is this fucking real?
Yeah.
It's disorienting.
It's not. Spoiler. You just reminded me of another dream I used to have when I was little. I was probably like 5 or 6
Okay,
or
so
7,
you lied
somewhere in
earlier
there.
when you said you don't remember your dreams. Got it.
I said I remember less than 5, and I'm still under 5.
Continue.
I dreamed that I woke up and my whole life up to that point was a dream, and I was still a baby.
Well, maybe you'll soon wake up and realize that all this 10-ish podcast you've done has really just been one long-ass dream.
Can you imagine, Buster, if you woke up and you have multiple wake-ups from your weird dreams you're having, like you said, but you wake up for real, and you find out that your whole life was a dream, everything, all of it, until, like, let's say you're 5 years old now in real life, and you got to do all this shit again, and none of this shit happened. What do you say to that?
Okay, let's say you were 30. And you woke up and realized that everything you thought was reality, everything you'd ever done was just a dream. Well, you'd be waking up as somebody else. You wouldn't be doing it again because you'd be waking up as somebody else who's not been the person. Oh, that would be that'd be mind-bending.
Which means everything you know, like fucking DVDs, fucking the internet.
Everything. What you even
the
look
latest
like.
Star Wars movies, anything. None of it's real.
The person you wake up next to.
At that point, I might just fucking jump off a bridge or something. I don't know if I want to go through all this shit
You think you're a resident of Illinois who's married, has 2 kids, you're 35 years old, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're actually 21 years old, different gender, you live in Florida, you're a college student, and you're like, what the fuck?
I'm sure some version of that has happened to people. Well, because we all have dreams, but like for a dream to feel like you've lived 15 years or whatever.
Some dreams go on and on and on and on and on. But I would say in recent memory, the longest dream timescale I can think about is maybe an hour, 30 minutes to an hour.
Earlier we talked about REM sleep, and the dreams you tend to remember are the dreams you had in REM sleep, and REM sleep's only 10 or 15 minutes, which means even a dream that feels like years was really just 10 or 15 minutes at the most, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, we don't know how time gets distorted in dreams, but there's a thought that it might not match up entirely. Like you could have a very long dream in a 1-minute time being asleep.
Well, this seems like a good segue to tell me another one of those accepted dream theories.
Okay, all right. Another current dream theory is cognitive development. It is us running simulations, kind of like the Matrix, to teach ourselves age-appropriate reactions. So kids dream about things that they need to know for the next phase in life, and teenagers have different types of dreams. Adults have their own. You're just running these little like Matrix fake simulations so that your brain can be more prepared when that thing or a similar situation happens to you next in life.
And that's like a biological body preservation thing that happens to prepare yourself?
Your brain's like, hey, you're asleep, you're knocked out, you're unconscious, we got some time to fill, our brain's still active, what should we do? Well, might as well Rubik's Cube life while we're asleep here, so that the next time things get hairy or uncomfortable, we'll know what to do. Because we've been here before, brother.
That's deep. And it's weird. And it also makes me think of not just dreaming, but sleep, period. We still don't even understand fully why we all need to sleep every day.
Yeah.
Humans are fucking wild, man. Not just humans, all animals. It's all wild. God works in mysterious ways.
Hot take.
So I just need number 10 and 11, right?
Number 10 and number 11.
Okay, are you a fucking parrot? That's what
Number
I just said.
11 is one that it's a dream I've never had. It's weather related.
Oh, like being in the eye of a storm or something?
Okay, the eye of a storm is part of a what?
Weather event? I don't know.
What's a particularly scary type of weather event?
Hurricane?
Okay, a hurricane is one of...
Natural disaster.
Natural disaster, number 11.
Brad Choma when I need him.
Yep, get his ass in here to fearmonger us with natural disaster data. 32%, nearly a third of people have had a natural disaster nightmare lately. A natural weather event or catastrophe, Freud said that person had a fear of losing control or they had inescapable, overwhelming anxiety.
Or you could just be fucking scared of natural disasters in the real world that happen all around us at all times.
Because tornadoes and earthquakes are scary as shit to begin with. Maybe you're just scared of tornadoes.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe I'm not crushing underneath my anxiety about what it means to be in my mid-30s. Maybe I just fucking hate earthquakes.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to die in an earthquake tomorrow.
Yeah.
That just seems like a stretch, yeah.
Which I've never experienced an earthquake, and I think that I'd be pretty freaked out if I did.
You have experienced them. They've happened in Oklahoma. Just little minor ones.
Yeah, but nothing major.
Well, you didn't say nothing major, bub. You said earthquake. So are we just being willy-nilly with language now? We can just say whatever we want without meaning it?
It's not a noteworthy enough experience because it was a tiny little tremor. A little quakey-wakey.
It's kind of like when you're on the show. It's not that noteworthy.
Right, yeah. This is one you can definitely pass and skip, everyone.
Everyone's like, damn, I wish I had known that an hour ago when I started this thing.
All right, your last one coming in at number 10 is something to deal with people's visual appearance.
Number 10 is either some variation of being out in public while undressed or giving a public speech in your underwear or something along those lines.
I'm surprised that being naked, showing up without clothing is not in the top 13.
Didn't you say it had to do with clothing? Or appearance, I mean?
It is a visual appearance. It's something with your face.
Pimple? I don't know. You can't see. You're blind. You're deaf.
Something you definitely would not want to happen, but does happen to people as they get older.
Losing your teeth?
Teeth falling out is number 10.
Okay. Teeth falling out. Teeth falling out. Okay.
I've had this, not very often, but I've had this nightmare before. 34% of people had a recent nightmare about teeth falling out. Freudian psychoanalysts say that a nightmare pertaining to your teeth falling out is you worrying about remaining sexually attractive.
That one could kind of track, I guess, but it could also just be not sexual, just don't want your teeth to fall out.
Right. 58% of women, but only 42% of men have had this nightmare lately.
That might have to do with, again, not saying what's right or wrong, but just historically, women are pressured more than men to look certain ways in society. So maybe that has something to do with it.
I think it's a disproportionate amount of unfair expectation to maintain appearances.
Yeah.
So much so, people feel it in their sleep.
Teeth are one of those things that, at least for me, I guess, it's not one of the first things I think of when I think this person is or is not attractive, but you don't really notice it until the teeth are gone or bad or whatever.
It's like housekeeping. You only notice it if it's not done correctly.
There you go. Boom. Put that on a fucking t-shirt. Goddamn.
Tennis Pod merch at tennispod.com.
Yep. Okay, well, Buster, my biggest nightmare is that you won't, in due time and very efficiently, go through this top 10 again.
Well, you're going to get your wish, but before I do that, I'll tell you that the last current dream explanation is a cop-out. It is that the plot and content of our dreams does not have any inherent meaning, and that it's more just a byproduct of being asleep. Like heat from a light bulb, there is no learning mechanism. There is no reason for the material. It just happens, and there is no explanatory cause.
That to me is a cop-out because that to me just sounds like the first theory of the random neurons going off. Something's happening in our minds when we're sleeping. It's not nothing. We just don't know what or how.
Well, they're not saying that nothing is happening, but that there's no inherent meaning in it. Neural activation says that there is... You connect the dots to things that were previously unrelated, but your mind's kind of like consolidating all of your memories. And then your brain puts it together in a chronological story.
Sounds like hippie shit to me. So which of those theories do you prescribe to?
I don't know. I mean, they're all competing. I think they all have their merits. But I'd probably have to say that either the cognitive development theory, where you are running simulations so that you can be better prepared for next time or if it ever happens to you, or us just kind of making sense of what's already happened to us in life. And sometimes your brain swings and misses and thinks of something that's way too wild and out of the realm of normal possibility.
I'll say. Say that again. But I think, too, that kind of the bummer of the whole thing is that we'll never really know for sure how could we ever know for sure? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't dissect a brain and put it on a table and then say, oh, right there, see, that's why, and that's what it means, and that's why we have dreams about this and that.
Yeah.
All you can have is a theory, unless I'm missing something. It seems like the most we'll ever have.
I think we'll get closer and closer, but we may never have perfection.
Not like me, since I perfectly guessed this list.
Folks, if you're out there and you're like myself and you think, oh my gosh, am I the only person who has bad dreams? Did I have frequent nightmares? 80% of all dreams, so not just 80% of people, but 80% of all dreams reported are of a negative nature. 4 out of 5 dreams are bad.
I would love to compare that data point with the same data point like 100 years ago and 200 years ago.
Oh, and see if it's gone up or down?
Because the changes in society have led to more or less pressure on ourselves and whatever.
I agree.
There has to be some
That'd be
sort
really
of
neat to
thing
know.
with that.
Yeah. 6% of adults, or about 1 in 19, have problems, in quotes, with nightmares, which means it is impacting their daily life.
How many? 6%?
6% of adults report having, issues with nightmares. It is becoming a life concern.
That reminds me of the guy you told about with the okay ass that had the nightmare of someone coming in his house every night. Something like that I could see because... Yeah, you said that he would like put off going to sleep because he didn't want to deal with that nightmare again. If you're not sleeping well often enough, then that could definitely have a negative impact on your life. Sleep is such a thing that it's a thing you take for granted until you are short on sleep, as you recently found out as a new father.
Yeah.
Sleep is so important, and when you don't get enough, you really feel it.
Yes. Every hour chunk of sleep is so crucial. All of it. My last note for today's episode is that they are discovering that there is a genetic predisposition to have nightmares. So whether or not you will have more or less nightmares runs in the family.
That's really interesting.
And I wonder if that's a subset of general anxiety while you're awake. Are more anxious people more likely to have nightmares? That's a combination I don't know.
You would think so, but I don't know. Because I'm pretty anxious motherfucker, and I don't have a ton of nightmares, so...
Well, don't be anxious, Nick. I will recap.
Maybe it's just because I'm really good looking.
Yeah, that's probably it. Here are the top 13 most common nightmares as reported by a mattress company in America.
Can you skip number 13? Because I would get really scared.
That's
just
true.
Seeing or hearing number 13.
So not number 13 is a spouse leaving you. 12, visited by a deceased loved one. 11, a natural disaster. 10, your teeth are falling out. 9, you're getting injured. 8, the death of a loved one. 7, having a nightmare about waking up late or being late to an event. Number 6, missing.
Like you late to every single recording session we have?
Number 6, missing an event or missing out. 5, being physically attacked. 4, getting or feeling lost. 3, dying. 2, being chased. And number 1, fallen. I'm falling for you. I'm falling off of this episode because we are done. And that's a wrap.
We did it. That was me clapping. That wasn't Buster's ass.
And I hope that I don't have a nightmare tonight after talking about so many of my frequent nightmares that I have.
I'm going to intentionally die today somehow just so I can become a ghost and haunt your dreams tonight. Just to spite your fucking ass.
Well, being on this show haunts my dreams enough, so whatever you want to add to it, I guess that's fine.
Very well. And listener, I will haunt your dreams if you don't follow us on social media at TennisPod. You can also, don't forget, listen to that new bonus episode I talked about earlier at tennispod.com/plus. Buster, any other sweet dreams you want to give our listeners before we go?
Sweet dreams are made of these.
I'm sorry, everyone. That's on me.
Who am I to disagree with you, listener? That I love you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting Tennis Pod. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that you have the best sleep tonight. I don't want you to have nightmares that you're unprepared to teach a class, or that you can't find your keys, or that you're late, or some other stupid life bullshit event that my brain tortures me with on a weekly basis.
I asked earlier if humans will ever discover technology to watch someone else's dream on a big screen. And they're going to finally break through with that technology, and everyone's going to be excited, and they're going to hook up the first person to watch the first dream ever, and they're going to like air it on global television, and it's going to be your dream, and everyone's going to be just sitting there watching you look for keys and shit and being like, was this technology really worth it after all? I don't know.
Or it's going to be someone rubbing their scrotum on a paper bag, and the person wakes up and they're like, look, I'm sorry. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did that. I can't explain it. I didn't mean to.
Yeah. It might be a Pandora's box we don't want to open, seeing everyone else's dreams,
I think for sure, the closer we get to being able to read or notice other people's minds without them having to verbally explain, we get into real deep water very quickly.
If you have the technology to say this person was thinking about this, even if whether it's true or not, that's kind of Minority Report shit too, where it's like, do you start arresting people for dreaming about murdering the same person every day? I don't know. But anyway,
is that a confession?
It's too late in the episode.
Do you dream about murdering me on a nightly basis?
I just assumed you knew that already.
Oh,
that's not a nightmare though. That's a dream.
That's
the dream. Yeah. All right. Let's end this thing. I'm Nick. He's Buster. Thank you, and see you next time.
Bye.
Why?
Why?
If you have T-Mobile 5G home internet, you might be hearing this
Why?
a lot.
Why?
Every time your internet slows down during the busiest hours.
Why?
Why?
Because your network gives priority to cell phone users.
Why?
Good question. Why not switch to Cox Internet with 2 times faster download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet during peak hours?
Okay.
Stop the whys and visit cox.com/5G home for details. T-Mobile prioritizes certain T-Mobile phone users over home internet users during times of congestion.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.